In English, you can say, "I will not disappoint you." It's correct. But a native speaker would probably say, "I won't let you down." You can say, "Let's start to discuss this difficult problem." But a native speaker might say, "Let's bring this up." These small two-part verbs are called phrasal verbs. They are the secret code to sounding truly natural and fluent in everyday conversations. They are the words that friends, families, and colleagues use all the time. But for learners, they can be a confusing mystery. Today, we are going to learn that code. Welcome back to our series, English Grammar Unlocked. I'm your host, Scarlett. Today, we are diving into one of the most important and challenging parts of English fluency, social phrasal verbs. In this episode, we will turn this difficult topic into a simple story about friendship. First, we will follow a story about a group of friends to see how these special verbs are used in a real, emotional context. Second, we will master 10 of the most common and useful social phrasal verbs. And finally, for our language focus, we will learn the crucial grammar rule of separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. Part 1. A Friendship in Trouble. Our story today is about a group of 4 close friends, Maya, Liam, Chloe, and Ben. For years, they have been a very happy group. The first phrasal verb to describe them is get along with. When you get along with someone, it means you have a friendly and easy relationship with them. So, for a long time, Maya, Liam, Chloe, and Ben all got along with each other perfectly. But recently, something has changed, especially between Maya and Liam. They have started to drift apart. To drift apart means to slowly become less friendly with someone over time. It's not a big fight. It's a slow, sad process. They stopped calling each other as much. They stopped sharing their secrets. Chloe, another friend in the group, is very worried. She decides to talk to Ben about the situation. They meet for coffee. Chloe is nervous to start the conversation because it is a sensitive topic. This brings us to our next phrasal verb, bring up. To bring up a topic means to start talking about it. Chloe takes a deep breath and says, "Ben, I need to bring up the topic of Maya and Liam. I'm worried about them." Ben nods sadly. "I know," he says. "They had a big argument last week. They really fell out with each other." To fall out with someone is a very common phrasal verb that means to have a serious argument and stop being friends. Ben continues, "Liam feels like Maya really let him down." To let someone down means to disappoint them, to fail to help or support them when they needed you. It was Liam's birthday party on Saturday, and Maya promised to come, but she never showed up. Liam feels like she let him down badly. So, in just the first part of our story, we have learned 5 essential phrasal verbs that describe the complex world of friendships: to get along with, to drift apart, to bring up a topic, to fall out with someone, and to let someone down. Part 2. Trying to fix things. Chloe is a good friend. She doesn't want to see her friends unhappy. She hopes that Maya and Liam can make up. To make up means to become friends again after an argument. It is the opposite of falling out. Chloe decides she needs to talk to Maya to understand her side of the story. The next day, Chloe is walking through a park, and she suddenly sees Maya sitting on a bench, looking sad. Chloe is surprised. This is a perfect moment to use our next phrasal verb, run into. To run into someone means to meet them by chance when you were not expecting to. Chloe walks over and says, "Maya, I didn't expect to run into you here." Maya looks up and gives a small smile. They sit down together. Chloe says, "We haven't talked in a while. I would love to catch up with you." To catch up with someone is a beautiful and very common phrasal verb. It means to talk to someone you haven't seen for some time and find out what they have been doing in their life. As they talk, Chloe gently brings up the topic of Liam. Maya explains that she didn't go to the party because her mother was sick, and she had to take care of her. She felt terrible, but she didn't know how to explain it to Liam. Chloe now understands the situation. She knows she needs to stand up for Liam's feelings because he was genuinely hurt. To stand up for someone or something means to support or defend them. She says, "I understand, and that's a very good reason. But you should know that Liam was very sad. You should stand up for your friendship and explain the situation to him." Chloe also wants to remind Maya of how important their friendship is. She says, "Liam is a wonderful person. He is someone you really look up to." To look up to someone means to admire and respect them. It is what you feel for a role model or a mentor. Chloe is reminding Maya that her friendship with Liam is valuable and worth fighting for. Part 3. The conversation. Inspired by Chloe's advice, Maya finally finds the courage to call Liam. The conversation is difficult at first. Liam is quiet and still feels hurt. Maya uses the phrasal verbs she has learned in her heart. She says, "Liam, I am so sorry I let you down. I never wanted our friendship to drift apart like this." She then explains the full story about her mother's illness. Liam listens carefully. As he listens, his anger starts to disappear, and he begins to understand. He says, "Maya, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. You should have told me." Maya replies, "I know. I was just so worried. But Chloe helped me realize I need to be a better friend. I really look up to you, and I miss talking to you." By the end of the phone call, the sadness is gone. They both agree that their friendship is too important to lose over a misunderstanding. Liam says, "Let's catch up properly this week." Maya agrees. They have finally made up. Our story ends on a hopeful note, showing that honest communication, using natural, heartfelt language, can fix even the most difficult situations. Part 4. Language Focus. Now, let's move on to our language focus. Today's entire lesson has been a vocabulary focus, so let's do a formal review of the 10 essential social phrasal verbs we learned in our story. Our first phrasal verb is to get along with. This means to have a good, friendly relationship with someone. For example, I'm lucky that I get along with all of my colleagues at work. Another example is, do you get along with your siblings? Our second phrasal verb is to bring up. This means to start talking about a particular subject. For example, it was difficult, but she decided to bring up the problem with her boss. Another example is, please don't bring up politics at the dinner table. Our third phrasal verb is to fall out with. This means to have a strong argument with someone and stop being friends. For example, he fell out with his best friend over a small misunderstanding. Another example is, they fall out all the time, but they always make up. Next, we have to make up. This means to become friends again after an argument. For example, after their fight, they talked and finally made up. Another example is, I think you two should try to make up. Our fifth phrasal verb is to look up to. This means to admire and respect someone. For example, she has always looked up to her older sister. Another example is, find a mentor that you can look up to. The sixth is to let someone down. This means to disappoint someone, often by not doing what you promised. For example, I feel terrible that I let you down. Another example is, you can always count on me. I will never let you down. Our seventh is to run into. This means to meet someone by chance. For example, I was so surprised to run into my old teacher at the supermarket. Another example is, if you run into Mark, please tell him I'm looking for him. Next, we have to catch up with. This means to talk to someone you haven't seen in a while and find out their news. For example, let's have coffee next week. I'd love to catch up with you. Another example is, the reunion was a great chance to catch up with old friends. Our ninth is to stand up for. This means to support or defend a person or an idea. For example, it's important to stand up for what you believe in. Another example is, he always stands up for his little brother. And our final phrasal verb is to drift apart. This means to slowly become less close or friendly with someone over time. For example, after they moved to different cities, the two friends began to drift apart. Another example is, it's sad when old friends drift apart. Now for our grammar. Focus, separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. This is the main grammar rule for phrasal verbs. Some phrasal verbs are inseparable. This means the verb and the particle, the second small word, must always stay together. You cannot put an object in the middle. For example, run into is inseparable. You can say, I ran into my friend. But you cannot say, I ran my friend into. Look up to and get along with are also inseparable. Other phrasal verbs are separable. This means you can put the object between the verb and the particle. For example, bring up is separable. You can say, she wanted to bring up the topic. Or you can say, she wanted to bring the topic up. Both are correct. But here is the most important rule. If the object of a separable phrasal verb is a pronoun like it, them, me, him, or her, the pronoun must go in the middle. You can say, she wanted to bring it up, but you cannot say, she wanted to bring up it. This is a very common mistake. Let's look at another one. Let down is separable. You can say, she let her friend down, or she let down her friend. But if you use a pronoun, you must say, she let him down. Part 5. Practice tips for the 4 skills. Now, how can you practice this secret language of native speakers? For listening, watch a short clip from a modern TV show about friends, like Friends, or How I Met Your Mother. These shows are full of social phrasal verbs. Listen for any of the 10 verbs we learned today. For speaking, talk to your AI tutor about a friendship. Your challenge is to use at least 3 of the phrasal verbs we learned today. For example, I get along with my best friend very well. I always try to stand up for her, and I never want to let her down. For reading, find an advice column online where people write about their relationship problems. You will see many phrasal verbs like break up, make up, get over, and fall out with. And for writing, use your journal to write about a time you had a small argument with a friend or family member and how you solved it. Try to use the phrasal verbs fall out with and make up. Part 6. Your next action. Phrasal verbs can feel like a secret code, but today you have learned 10 of the most important keys to unlock it. By understanding and using these small, powerful verbs, your English will stop sounding like a textbook and start sounding like a real, natural conversation between friends. As we conclude, let's quickly summarize our lesson today. First, we followed the emotional story of a group of friends and saw how phrasal verbs are the perfect tool to describe the ups and downs of relationships. Second, we learned the crucial grammar difference between separable and inseparable phrasal verbs, especially the important rule about pronouns. We also mastered 10 essential phrasal verbs. As a review, those verbs were to get along with, to bring up, to fall out with, to make up, to look up to let someone down, to run into, to catch up with, to stand up for, and to drift apart. Now I have a final question for you. Who is one person you really look up to? Let's practice this phrasal verb in the comments section below. If you are committed to making this lesson a part of your life, show your energy by smashing that like button. Be a hero for a friend by sharing this video with someone you know who wants to sound more natural in English. And to lock in your commitment to learning, subscribe and smash that notification bell so you don't miss our next grammar mystery. Remember, learning these phrases is how you go from just speaking English to truly connecting in English. Until next time, take care and happy learning.